Okay, just okay. All right. Well, I've been ready for a while. Just been listening to two of you chat along. Yeah, yeah. All right. Good afternoon. Yeah, I know you're all here to see our friend Tom Fletcher, who will be joining us as our guest in a few minutes. Who, as you know, is our emergency relief coordinator and Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs. At 3 p.m., our friends from UN Women and DESA will be here to launch the Gender Snapshot 2025. We may have a background briefing later this afternoon, as I told you over the weekend, but details are still being worked out, so I ask for your patience, but we will let you know as soon as I know. Tomorrow, our guest briefer will be the Secretary General of the United Nations himself. As mentioned, he will be here at noon and on time. The press conference will be broadcast on web TV and YouTube and everywhere else, but we will not have a Zoom link. So if you want to ask questions, please try to be here in person. Starting with the situation in Gaza, and I can tell you that we condemn the deadly escalation of the Israeli military offensive, which we saw over the weekend across Gaza City, with scores of people reportedly killed or injured. As you can imagine, this is having an appalling impact on civilians enduring suffering and starvation. We reiterate our call for the protection of civilians and humanitarian personnel and full respect for international law. Yesterday, the Commissioner General of UNRWA, Philippe Lazzarini, said that in the previous 4 days alone, 10 of UNRWA's buildings have been hit in Gaza City. This includes 7 schools and 2 clinics used as shelters for thousands of displaced people. Consequently, Mr. Lazzarini warned that the exhausted and terrified civilians are again being forced to leave northern Gaza. People are fleeing using the Al-Rashid Road, which is the only route available for the moment to the south. And as you can imagine, as you've seen from footage, it is extremely congested, to say the least. Over the past few days, colleagues monitoring the movements of people in Gaza counted almost 70,000 displacements heading south, primarily to Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis. In the past month, partners observed about 150,000 movements from north to south. Yesterday, our colleagues at the World Food Programme said that forced displacement from Gaza cities exhausts families, resources, and disrupts their last lifelines. Without safe, sustained access, and the risk of worsening hunger grows, especially for children. Our partners report that 1/3 of malnutrition treatment facilities in Gaza City have already shut down due to forced displacement orders. Today, the Ministry of Health in Gaza said 3 more people died due to malnutrition and starvation over a span of 24 hours. Overall, the ministry reports that 425 people across Gaza have died due to malnutrition and starvation, and about 1/3 of that number refers to children. Our partners working in water and sanitation and hygiene sector have scaled up water production and are distributing water at reception points. They've also been able to increase the number of meals being provided in the last few days, distributing about 40,000 additional meals daily throughout Gaza. And as of Saturday, 558,000 daily meals were prepared and delivered by 20 partners through 116 kitchens. However, health services continue to be heavily constrained since clinics have suspended their services due to insecurity and displacement orders. In Deir al-Balah, more than half of the ambulances are now out of service, with a very limited number of ambulances to serve thousands of people. OCHA also reports that humanitarian movements inside Gaza continue to face impediments. Out of the 17 missions that our teams coordinated with the Israeli authorities, only 4 were facilitated. 7 missions were denied, including the delivery of water tanks to the north. Another 4 missions were impeded on the ground, but 3 of them were nevertheless accomplished. These included collection of fuel and food cargo from the Karim Shalom, Karim Abu Salam crossings. 2 other missions had to be canceled by the organizers. Our humanitarian colleagues continue to call for the unimpeded humanitarian access. Aid should flow at scale in Gaza through multiple crossing points into the south and the north. Additionally, our partners estimate that about 77% of the road network in Gaza has now been damaged, with Gaza and Khan Yunis governorates being the worst impacted. Turning to Sudan, first on the political front, the Secretary General's personal envoy for Sudan, Ramtam Lamamra, is currently in Port Sudan after concluding consultations in Nairobi. He's had a very constructive engagements with Sudanese stakeholders across the spectrum, as well as key interlocutors from the international community. This will help lay the groundwork necessary to support an inclusive process that can deliver a sustainable solution that preserves Sudan's sovereignty, its unity, and its territorial integrity. We look forward to working closely with the UN's regional partners, including the African Union, IGAD, and the League of Arab States, on the recommencement efforts towards an intra-Sudanese dialogue. Meanwhile, on the ground, the humanitarian situation continues to rapidly deteriorate in different parts of the country. Our colleagues tell us that in El Fasher, local sources report that heavy shelling and assaults late last week left at least 6 civilians dead and scores injured. The attacks also triggered further displacement. Essential services in the city are collapsing amid ongoing hostilities and lack of funding. Over the weekend, water trucking to the only functional hospital was suspended, while community kitchens have shut down due to depleted food supplies. Without urgent support, the most vulnerable people face severe hunger, even more difficult conditions than those they are currently experiencing. Meanwhile, heavy rains and flash floods continue to displace people, damage homes, and disrupt lives. Last Friday alone, over 4,000 people were displaced and 550,000 destroyed in Al Jazeera state. Many families still urgently need shelter and other basic assistance. In the capital Khartoum, OCHA last week saw how local authorities have made progress in restoring basic services and improving security. However, more than 800,000 people have returned to the city in recent months, still need urgent support to rebuild their lives. We call again for the immediate cessation of hostilities, the protection of civilians, the safe and unimpeded access for humanitarian goods, and increased international support to sustain life-saving operations across the country. And this morning, the members of the Security Council were briefed on the situation in Yemen, first by Hans Grunberg, our special envoy for Yemen, who said in recent weeks he held discussions with Yemeni interlocutors, including from the government of Yemen and Ansar Allah. He also met with representatives of regional countries as well as representatives of the broader international community. He emphasized in all his meetings the need for a nationwide ceasefire and an inclusive political process. For his part, Tom Fletcher, our humanitarian chief, who you'll hear from briefly, said that before February next year, 1 million people in Yemen are expected to be forced into extreme hunger, joining the 17 million Yemenis who have had too little to eat, which is almost half of the population in the country. Both, of course, stressed that the arbitrary detention of by the Houthis of 44 UN national staff, the forcibly entry in our offices, and the seizure of equipment endanger the very stability to advance peace efforts and deliver humanitarian support for those who need it. Those comments were shared with you. Turning to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, our colleagues at OCHA are telling us that we and our partners are supporting the government-led response to the Ebola outbreak in Kasai province. Data indicates there's been a sustained increase in suspected cases. As of yesterday, the province has reported a total of 43 suspected cases and 35 confirmed cases, which includes 27 deaths. Among the fatalities, 16 have been confirmed as Ebola virus. National health authorities are leading the response. Our partners working in health have also facilitated the early delivery of over 350 doses of the Ebola vaccine to the Bulape Health Zone, which remains the epicenter of the outbreak. We've also mobilized rapid response teams focusing on case detection and surveillance, clinical case management, infection and prevention control, and the risk communications and community engagement. Our health partners are mobilizing to contain the outbreak, but gaps in medical supplies and logistical capacity are hindering the response. Urgent funding for the Ebola response is needed. And you will have seen that over the weekend, we issued a statement on Haiti in which the Secretary General strongly condemned the reported killing of at least 40 people, including women and children and the elderly, during a brutal attack by armed gangs in the Cabaret commune of Haiti's West Department. This happened during the night of 11 September. The Secretary General expresses his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims, the people, and the government of Haiti. He is also alarmed by the level of violence rocking Haiti and urges the Haitian authorities to ensure that the perpetrators of these and all other human rights violations and abuses are brought to justice. He also calls on member states to expedite efforts towards strengthening the multinational security support mission, which requires logistics, it requires personnel, and obviously cash to effectively assist the Haitian National Police in addressing gang violence in Haiti in full respect with international human rights law. Turning to Ukraine, our colleagues in the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs tell us that hostilities are continuing over the weekend. Several civilians were killed and 40 injured in Donetsk between the 12th of September and today. Local authorities tell us that there is damage to nearly 190 civilian facilities in the region, including homes, schools, and a hospital. Hostilities have also continued in other parts of the country, damaging homes, farmland, and other civilian infrastructure. Nearly 5,000 people remain without electricity in the Zaporizhzhia region. Our humanitarian colleagues note that the continuing violence has forced more than 2,700 people to flee their homes between the 12th of September and the 14th. Humanitarian organizations are assisting evacuees at transit sites, providing hot meals, psychosocial support, and other emergency assistance. Some travel to announce by our friend Jean-Pierre Lacroix, the head of our Peace Operations Department. He is currently in the Republic of Korea and for today and tomorrow, and he will travel to China from the 16th to the 19th of September. In Seoul, he will meet with senior officials, including the Foreign Minister, Mr. Cho Hyun, and other representatives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of National Defense. Discussions will focus on Korea's important contributions to United Nations peacekeeping, as well as opportunities for future collaboration on peace and security, including peacekeeping. And in Beijing, he will participate in the 12th Beijing Xiangshan Forum, and he will also attend the 2025 Conference on Global Public Security Cooperation Forum, which is taking place in Liangyungang, highlighting China's ongoing contributions to UN policing and the importance of multilateral cooperation in addressing public security challenges. Today in Geneva, our friend Rebecca Greenspan, who, as you know, is the head of UNCTAD, delivered a message on behalf of the Secretary General at a special General Council meeting of the World Trade Organization. In the message, the Secretary General welcomed today's entry into force of the landmark WTO agreement on fisheries subsidies. Mr. Guterres said this is an agreement that is a vital step in protecting our oceans, advancing sustainable development, and called all to keep working to turn the tide towards healthy oceans, resilient communities, and a sustainable future for all. Today is the International Day of what, Edie? Democracy. It's a D. That's a good start. International Day of Democracy. In his message, the Secretary General says democracy is powered by the will of the people, their voices and choices. Just to flag that our friends at the UN Democracy Fund will host an event today at 3 p.m. in the Goals Lounge, which is by the neck area where the Express Bar used to be, to highlight how democratic participation can be transformed from voice to action. It will also be streamed on UN Web TV. Edie, yes, hang your head in shame.
Because Steph, is there any estimate of how many people in Gaza are actually unable to leave because of either age or disabilities?
I don't have any hard numbers. Our next guest may. But I can tell you is that the majority of people are unable to leave or choose not to leave, as they've been displaced over and over and over again. To seek safety in Gaza is impossible. And as we've also highlighted, the very high cost of transportation for families. Amélie.
Thanks, Steph. Brazilian officials have complained today that their delegation to high-level week next week have not received the visa from the US yet. I was wondering if you heard anything about that, and if you have any comment if the US are imposing visa restriction as well to other countries.
I mean, we've seen, I've seen the press reports. Obviously, it's concerning. We hope that the visas will be delivered. As we've stressed here, in the case of another delegation, the Palestinian delegation, the headquarters agreement between the U.S. and the U.S. calls for the U.S., our host government, to facilitate the travel to the United States of people having business in front of this organization. Benno, and then Michelle.
Thank you, Steph. German outlet Der Spiegel and the British Guardian and others published last week a comprehensive research about snipers of the Israeli army. This research lays out that these snipers allegedly killed unarmed Palestinians in Gaza and some Palestinians who wanted to help others who were shot already. Did you see these articles? Do you have a
yeah, I mean, I read the article. I saw the pictures, the X-ray pictures that were posted, which makes for harrowing reading. I think this is just another reason why there will need to be accountability, and there needs to be accountability for all the violations that we've seen in Gaza.
If it proves to be true that Israeli snipers killed unarmed civilians, would that amount to a war crime?
Look, what I can tell you is that the killing of civilians and the targeting of civilians, including children, is obviously against international humanitarian law.
You called for accountability. Does that mean you call for an investigation in this matter?
Yes, we do. And there are, I mean, as we've said here repeatedly, Benno, there are various mechanisms through which accountability can be had.
Sorry, please.
Please, thank you. Can be had. What is important is that the Israeli authorities cooperate with those mechanisms, which has yet to be the case.
Last one on this. One of the snipers is a German citizen. Do you also call on the German authorities to conduct accountability or conduct an investigation?
Everyone who is involved in what has happened in Gaza will need to look at their conduct. Abdelhamid. Oh, pardon, Michelle. Sorry, she's such a wallflower.
Thanks.
Yeah. That was a compliment. Yeah.
Just to follow up on Emily's question, have any other countries told the UN they're having issues with visas?
I haven't gotten an update from our legal office this morning. I will check if they have formally complained to us. But as I said, we've seen the press reports. There's still time between now and the general debate, so we do hope the visas will come through.
But also other countries?
Yeah, I will check.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay.
And then has a meeting been locked in between the Secretary General and President Trump for next week?
We expect to have a bilateral on the first day, as the Secretary General and the U.S. President traditionally have. Abdelhamid.
Thank you, Steph. I have a couple of questions. First, today is the 710th day after the massacre started in Gaza. So again, I will keep reminding you that the number of days should be mentioned in your briefing. So there's 425 died of famine, including 145 children. And I don't see also you don't shed light on people who died out of hunger.
I mentioned, Abdelhamid, with all due respect, this is what I read out to all of you. I read out the number of people who had died of hunger, and I specifically cited the number of children who had died of hunger. So what is your question?
My question is, when you mentioned that the UNRWA buildings had been attacked, 10 of them, 7 schools and 2 clinics, does that make a war crime? Clearly, and not like what Ms. Baerbock said. Yeah.
Hitting UN premises, which are well known to everyone, which are being used as shelters, goes against international humanitarian law.
But you can't classify it as a war crime.
Judicial authorities will have to make that determination. Yes, sir.
On a less serious matter.
Your microphone, please, because your microphone is a serious matter.
Yes. Thank you, Stefan. On a less serious matter, you've probably seen the reports about the postcard that was delivered 72 years later from here, from the United Nations. What does that say to you? That it took 72 years for a letter to be delivered.
Well, I'm probably still waiting for some mail, but I honestly, I had not seen that story, so I'm happy to look into it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Steph. Chinese officials said China and the United States have concluded.
1 second, please. Go ahead.
China and the United States have concluded a two-day talks in the three target issues. And the US has said the two sides have reached a comprehensive agreement on TikTok. Does the SG has it comments on the talk?
Look, I'm not going to have a comment on the substance of the talk, but I can tell you we welcome and we encourage high-level dialogue between the world's two biggest economies, because their economic relationship has an impact on the global economy. Okay. Deji.
Yeah. First, a clarification. When you mentioned about the visa issue, has the Palestinian delegation complained or not to the UN?
We've been in touch with them, yes.
I mean, they have already.
Well, we've been in touch with them, and we've raised their issue directly on the Palestinian issue in a number of meetings with the U.S. Government.
What reaction? I mean, what response did you guys get?
You would have to speak to the U.S.
Okay.
Okay. Alex, and then Colin.
Thanks, Steph. Just a quick follow-up on Michelle's question. So you're expecting that the Secretary General will meet President Trump during the high-level week, right?
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
Colin, and then. It's been so long, Colin. I know.
Hi. So are there? You mentioned the question about the Palestinian delegation. Are there other delegations that you have that raised concerns? That
No, as I said, I'm not aware of any other delegations that have raised concerns directly to us. I will check after this briefing.
Right.
My answer to Amelie is that I'd seen the press reports on that. Okay. Yes, sir. 1 second.
Thank you, Seth. Just I want to come back to the meeting between the Secretary General and President Trump. Can you share with us what are the topics that will be raised during this meeting?
Issues of mutual concern? Sinan.
Other than that?
That covers quite a bit, trust me. Sinan.
Thank you, Steph. As you know, the Syrian president, interim president, is coming to UN next, I think, during the UNGA.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's going to meet with Secretary General, like one-to-one.
I have no doubt that, I don't have a confirmation because we don't have all the bilaterals yet, but I'm sure if one is requested, one will be granted. Pam.
Any sense, ballpark figure of how many heads of state and government the SG will meet with on a bilateral basis?
No, but we should have that before the week is over. Michelle, Beno, and Abdelhamid, then we'll go to our guest.
Just a question on security for the GA next week. Obviously, we know it's very, very tight anyway, but just in the wake of recent events in the United States, are there any plans to tighten security in any way?
I mean, the security within the UN complex is, during the J, is as tight as it can be. We are obviously in close contact with the host country authorities, Secret Service, State Department, and of course the NYPD. They will take the measures they need to take outside. I do expect a press briefing, I think Thursday morning outside the gates. That'll include UN security, Secret Service, NYPD, State Department, and others. We'll confirm that. What? A press briefing. So if you consider yourself part of the press, you would be welcome. I know. Benno.
The bilat between Mr. Guterres and Mr. Trump, would it be the first time they speak to each other since Trump was sworn in?
It would be the first official bilateral, yeah. I mean,
and there's
no phone call, as you know. I think they've exchanged words in different settings at summits. Exchanged words in the most diplomatic and polite way.
Like, you mean-
They've greeted each other, I'm saying.
Were they texting?
Abdelhamid.
Thank you, Steph, again. If Prime Minister Netanyahu comes to the UN headquarters and wanted to meet with the Secretary, would the Secretary meet with a war criminal?
As you know, there is a standard operating policy in the agreement between the International Criminal Court and the United Nations Secretariat that allows senior UN officials to meet with people who may be indicted if it is in the furtherance of operational needs. If such a bilateral is scheduled, I will let you know. Chris.
Just on the visa issue, Steph, are you having to discuss any contingency plans should more countries be denied their visas to attend?
I think those are discussion. I mean, in terms of, let me be clear. There is no discussion that I've heard or seen about moving, right? We had this issue of misinformation last week. In terms of contingency plans of people being speaking via video, those are decisions that have to be made by the General Assembly membership. Okay. Yes, please.
Nepal has a new prime minister, as you may be aware now. Has the Secretary General been in touch with her, or will she be expected?
No, not yet. But we obviously welcome her appointment, and the UN stands ready to assist Nepal in this transitional and challenging moment. Pam.
Just to follow up on security. Do you expect that diplomats will have to go through metal detectors this year within the building?
I don't know. Last question in the back, please.
Does the SG have any comments on the adoption of the report on GA revitalization work? It was adopted September 5. Any comment on it? There's been, experts have said it's low on transparency and inclusion. Does the SG have any comment on that?
Far be it from the Secretary General to opine on General Assembly resolution. I mean, it's the work of the revitalization is important. I think that resolution just